Bienvenue au premier VanTech mardi de France. Don't worry, I'm not going to do the rest of it in French. Yeah, so it's another episode of VanTech Tuesday. And this time, it's the first time I've done one in France. So that was the idea behind the French bit. So, let's get right to the questions. First question is, how did Eurotunnel allow you to travel with LPG? Well, it's safe. It's an LPG tank that meets the safety regulations of Eurotunnel, which means that it's only got 80% of its capacity at any one time filled up with LPG. So it's not full to the brim. It's 20% kind of like leeway in there for expansion as the air pressure changes as you go through the tunnel and then back out again. So that's all right. You simply fill out a form when you book your Eurotunnel ticket. It says you've got LPG. And then it says in my camper van, and then when they get there, you just make sure that you turn all your gas valves off, and basically they'll ask you, have you got your gas valves switched off? They might come in and check it, but other than that, that's it, fine. Related to travelling, the next question is, how do you find travelling out of the UK with Cooper? So it was something that we thought long and hard about, like how do we do it and what's the best way, and we chose Eurotunnel because it seemed the best way. You don't have to be away from your pet. Cooper can stay in the van with us, so he doesn't have to be in another part of the ferry or left in the van in the ferry while we go up on the passenger deck, that kind of stuff. So we felt that Eurotunnel was the best way to travel with Cooper, to keep Cooper kind of like, you know, calm and stuff like that, not stress him out. And it was so easy. Obviously we've paid extra for a pet ticket, which strangely enough no one asked about anything like that when we were going through it. They just kind of like, you know, let us on the ferry and that's it. Pal, you can't come on recording. I've been interrupted by the dog that's on the campsite. So travelling on Eurotunnel out from the UK to France, very easy. Cooper stayed in the van with us. We went through the usual checks. No one bothered asking about whether Cooper was on board, and no one's asked to see any pet passports or anything like that. It was basically we just left on the Eurotunnel as we would normally do. Our passports were checked, but no one's checked on Cooper at all, which is a bit strange because, you know, I thought that he would be checked on. So it appears that the checks and everything else are done on the way back through. So we'll give you an update on that in a future vlog in a few months' time. Next question, how do you shower in your van now that you've removed your shower? I removed the additional shower in the van because it was in the way when we used the toilet. However, we've got a good old-fashioned like 60s, 70s, you know, adapter that you plug on the tap, because we've got a tap and a sink in the toilet, and we can shower with that, wash our hair, do a body wash or whatever. And we've also got an outside shower as well, hot and cold outside shower. But mainly, obviously, you know, people don't need to shower every day. I know it might sound a bit awful, that. So every couple of days, there's a campsite, there's motorway services, there's plenty of places where you can get a shower if you look hard enough for it. Next question is, what hookup battery charger do you use? I use just something I found off Amazon, eBay. It's the same one. It's a 30 amp intelligent battery charger that understands different battery profiles, and it can take a battery from full charge to float. So it's a really good one. I think it's about £60, something like that. I'll put a link in the description down below. Next question is, what jump starter battery pack do you use? Strange enough, I wasn't sent one by all the companies that have recently sent them out to YouTubers. I've had one for about a year and a half, and I reviewed it on my gadget channel. I'll put a link up there to it now. It's been fantastic. I think it cost me about £60. Started every single car. I think I used it on CJ's ambulance recently. Worked fine with that. Tried it on loads of other stuff. And it's great as a USB battery bank and stuff like that as well. So I'll link that in the description down below too. Next question, how are your Agm batteries after you remove your lithium batteries, and is your BMV now showing the correct data? So Agm batteries, they're performing fine. We can use the inverter, you know, everything's working perfectly with them, no problem at all. They're charging nicely and they're discharging as expected. Solar power's charging them, you know, the battery to battery's charging them, so really happy with them. and the BMV is now working perfectly and showing the exact state of charge and discharge of the batteries. So yeah, very happy with all of that really. Next question, why didn't you fit a pure sine wave inverter? In your inverter video you say they're better. Yes, they are, and that's primarily because a lot of people say I want to charge my camera or my laptop and I want to use a mains charger, you know, because they don't want to get the 12 volt version, so they put an inverter in. And if you're charging sensitive technology like you know, sort of mobile phones, laptops, drones, that kind of stuff, the pure sine wave inverters are better. However, the modified sine wave inverter that I've bought mainly powers appliances in our van, but we can plug things in and they still work fine. In all fairness, it's a decent quality one, and that's why it was chosen. It's chosen because it was a good quality, it was great price, and really all we're using it for is appliances. And now and again I might plug something in to charge, like camera batteries or something like that, but most of the time I'm using 12 volt adapters for everything, including my laptop and mobile phones. Next question, what about the new DVLA rules on home addresses not being allowed? I'm sure that means the other way around. What about the DVLA rules saying you can only have a home address? And I think this is a new change of the law. So we made a video a few months ago about what we were doing when we were going to be traveling and selling a house, to register our driving documents like the V5 and driving licenses and things like that. And the DVLA sprung this on everybody a few months back and said, no, there's a new law change. You can only hold a driving license or register a V5 at an address you live at. And some people apparently have even been asked to prove they live at that address by means of council tax bills and stuff like that. I mean, you know, a bank statement bill, a mobile phone bill, surely they should do as well, because otherwise they're trying to make people pay bills at houses to prove they live there. It seems to me that's a bit kind of like Orwellian really. So I'm not too sure about that one. As far as what we did, yes, we were using the remote company, the virtual address, and we've now moved that across to my parents' address, just to get around this stupid law. And we've not been asked to prove it so far. We've just kind of like, you know, done it and they've been okay with it. Next question is, how is your solar panel doing after people said you should have fitted a wind deflector? Really interesting question, this one, because that was quite a kind of divisive little topic, that was. I still don't have a wind deflector, a little ramp at the front of my solar panel, simply because the panel's flat. I've mounted it with enough air gap at the bottom so air can go under it and air can travel over the top, and it doesn't create any up or, you know, low or high pressure points or up or downward forces on the solar panel that way, as I proved in my installation video using the little ribbons top and bottom. So hopefully that makes a lot of sense. The people that said fit a wind deflector, it's actually wrong, because it'll create a pressure that will basically suck the solar panel off the roof. It's a bit like you're making like a wing of a plane. That's Greg's analogy, where the air goes over it and creates a negative pressure, so you'll suck the solar panel probably out of its own frame, so you'll end up with a frame and no solar panel in the middle. So yeah, it's not needed. I proved it's not needed. If you're going to do that again, if you're fitting your solar panel, if you fit it flat to the roof, you don't need one. If you do fit it raised up, as long as you've got the same amount of gap all the way underneath the solar panel, so you're not creating like a tight point for the air or anything like that, it's going to be fine. And obviously the main thing that I'm doing is I'm sticking under 70 miles an hour. Obviously that's the speed limit anyway, but in France you can do 80 miles an hour, and obviously in Germany, some of their autobahns, you can do whatever speed you want. I stick under 70 because when I did my wind test I got to 70, and if you noticed I had my camera on there and it all looked fine, there was no movement or anything like that. And I do regularly check the fittings and fixings of my solar panel and the entire roof rack when I go up there and do a bit of cleaning and stuff, and everything is still rock solid as the day I installed it, so I'm very happy with that. And this is the final question, is have you still got a drone? As you've not shown any drone footage in your recent videos. Yes, I do have a drone, still got my Mavic Air, my DJI Mavic Air, still loving it. It's just been too cold or wet to fly. As an example of this one, last night's stopover was a lovely, absolutely gorgeous place, and blue skies in the morning and everything like that. I got the drone out, went to fly it. I'd not charged my batteries for a while, so they're at 50%. The outside temperature was -2, and the software said, you can't fly your drone because it's too cold. Go and warm your batteries up or fully charge them. So yeah, circumstances like that mean I don't get to fly my drone in winter in naff conditions as often as I'd like to. But now that we are in a warmer climate, you'll see more drone action, don't you worry. Right then, thanks very much, and please do leave your questions in this video or send them via email via our website www.gjot or via Instagram, anything you like. I will answer it as best as I can. Remember, these answers and the information I give you are all about my experiences and my van setup, so please don't berate me if it differs from yours and you think that yours is better. That's fine, you know, it's all okay. Right then, take care, and I'll see you again. Au revoir.